Oh, I'm live. Cool. I am just testing this out. I know the call isn't for another 4 minutes, but I just want to make sure that you guys can see me okay. And if you can, let me know who's on the call and your names, and also what questions you have for this. I'd say this is the best one so far, this training. I'm actually going to reveal the fit and healthy diet that I created after all my struggles trying to lose weight by starving myself. Well, we're going to eat our way to losing weight and keeping it off for life. So this is my life's work for about 30 years of my life's work, all in about an hour that you guys get. So this is game changing for those who want to eat and lose weight. So I'm just going to look to see if you guys can see me on the screen. And I want to say hi. I want you guys to say hi. Yeah, you can see me on the screen. Cool. All right. So we are in business. And I'm going to call Rona because Rona doesn't have a computer. She only has a phone, but she wants to be part of these calls. So she's in it to win it. And I'm calling her right now to let her know that we are going to start the training for today. Yeah. So again, whoever's on the call, please share your name. Have any questions? Let me know where you're from. Training starts in 2 minutes. Okay. About 2 more minutes, I'll get started. Okay, I'll give Rona a call. All right. Yeah, so let me know who's on the call, and if you have any questions, say hi. Okay, so I am going to start today's training in 1 minute. All right. Okay, we are ready. So I want to invite you today for this important live training, and it's all about how to eat more to lose weight. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my story about actually why I'm putting this on. The reason is because of my personal journey. And my personal journey started with this one comment that when I was maybe 8, maybe 9, maybe 10, it was from my auntie. And I'm Russian, so we call them Chota. And she looked at me and she says, Marusa, which is my Russian name, you look like you're gaining weight. I'm like, I never even looked at my weight. I never really even looked at myself that way. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound like really good. And if I'm gaining weight, then people won't like me. So probably I should lose weight. And then that started my journey in figuring out, well, if I lose weight, then people will like me because I'll be like accepted. And looking back, I wasn't even overweight. I couldn't be overweight because I was very, very athletic. And so I just had this athletic build my whole life. But what happened was things started to fall off the rails when I started to starve myself to lose weight. And from there, it led to an accelerating aging disease called osteoporosis. So I lost weight by eating less. That led to the breakdown of my bones, which then led to as a woman, my menstrual cycle, I stopped my menstrual cycle. So it's called amenorrhea. So I had a hormone issue. I had a bone issue. I started to look really thin and frail. And everything was just, I was at rock bottom. And what happened was I needed to find a way to be able to recover my health by eating again. But I was afraid of losing weight. And so I had this like turmoil of, if I eat, I'm going to gain weight. But I want to lose weight and still be accepted in society. And so I started following what was healthy to lose weight, and that what was advertised on the media, which was give up your butter for margarine, go low fat everything, and stop having sugar, but have artificial sweetener like Splenda. And so I started to follow that. I thought, okay, well, I can eat this way at least, because I know it's going to help me lose weight and be healthy. But actually, it got me even worse. So then I started to be misguided by all this advice that was given to you on all these media streams. And then it was only until I picked up this magazine called the Alive Health magazine. It was in the storefront, and it was like shining. When I was walked by the storefront in Vancouver and Westforth, it was like shining. It was like talking to me, pick me up. And the magazine was called Alive Health. And so I walked into the magazine store. I picked up the Alive Health. I started reading it, and I went, well, this makes sense. The light went on, and I started to follow real health. I hired a real doctor, which was a naturopathic doctor. He started to fix my hormones, and I started to learn about this. And then you couldn't take these books out of my hands. I would be carrying these textbooks all about health wherever I went. And if I had to wait in line, which we did, we didn't have phones back then, like these phones that everyone has. I had books, so I always carried my books. And so I actually just dove right in. I went all hog. And then I decided that I needed to get my degree because I needed to share this information about how you can get your health back by eating. And so that's kind of my journey to why I'm speaking to you today. And I'm very grateful for you coming on the line. And I am just going to look to see if anyone here has any questions. And also, please share who you are and where you're calling from, and any questions you have, because I'm here to answer them. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to share my screen and start the training. Okay. So let's see. Okay, one sec. There we go. Give me a sec here. Okay, so today's training is really about the program that I created last spring, and it was for busy women who were looking to lose the weight and keep it off for life. Lose the weight without starving, without depriving. In fact, having some of their wines, having the beer, and having some bread while still losing weight, and looking and feeling 10 years younger, having the confidence so that they can walk on the beach, they can go to a party, they can go out for dinner, and they don't have to think about food all the time, and love losing weight and keeping it off. And so I started with this image of what healthy is, and what strong is, and what sexy is. And so I chose, well, actually my husband chose, my husband chose her, and I'm happy that he did. So Wonder Woman. So she is, she's everything love, everything light, everything beautiful, everything strong, everything living in purpose. And we want to like find an image or an icon or a role model that you can just hang on to and go, you know what, I'm part of that. That version is me, but I'm, you know, my version of that. So it's really good to have these in mind, because they are like your North Star. They're like your anchor. They're something you hang on to when things get rough. you always remember where you're going. Okay. We all have rough times, but always go back to, why am I doing this? What do I want to look and feel like? Always go to that, because guess what? It's a learning journey. And we're meant to have these struggles so that we can move past them. Okay. This is what makes you stronger. This is what builds the confidence. If I didn't get myself like rock bottom sick, really ill, have that happen to me, I wouldn't be talking to you today and sharing what real health is. All right. So just know that there's never a bad mistake. You just need to keep moving forward and find someone to help you. So I'm glad that you're on this call right now, because I am definitely here to help you lose weight while eating more and keeping it off for life. Okay. A little bit about me. I did share a little bit of my story, but really I am a clinical nutritionist. I've been trained by the greatest, I have to say. So I'm just the messenger, and I wanted to find the truth on how we could actually eat more to lose weight and keep it off for life. All right. So I'm clinically trained. I've been in practice for almost 22 years, and I have 2 children. Actually, they're teenagers now, and a wonderful husband. And I'm so grateful for my health, because I can show up better for them. I can show up better for you. I can look in the mirror and be proud of the work I've done. But again, I did the work to get here, and so you can too. I've helped tens of thousands, so many, I wish I can count them all, over the past more than 2 decades. And they're all busy. We're all busy. We're all busy doing stuff. Of course you're busy. You want to be busy. You don't want to be bored. But here's what happens is things fall off the rails if you don't do the right things. But just so you know, when you follow this program or what you're going to learn today, you will get results, because this has been proven time and time again. One example would be Tammy. So she came to me in just 30 days. She's a busy mom of 4. 30 days, she dropped 10 pounds and got off this like sugar roller coaster ride, and now ready to actually start get into bodybuilding, because she can see how easy it is to eat more, to lose weight, be lean, be healthy, and go on stage. Okay. Then we have Christine. She is a mom of 2. She went on every single diet possible. Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, all these different ones, and on numerous medications. In fact, she was a professional flute player, and she had to stop her career because she was so sick. These diets were not working. They were depriving. And you know what? Who wants to order meals and place it into the microwave and think that that's going to nourish you? It's not. You know that, because you're not to where you want to go. I get it. I fell off track too. But what you're going to learn today is, when you start to eat healthy, you can get off your medications if you're working with somebody who can help you. Some medication, not all, but some. Anyways, Christine was able to get off most of hers. One of them was asthma, and the other one was GERD. So GERD means that your food is coming up your esophagus and you're tasting it. Shouldn't happen. And she was on meds for that, and then also meds for asthma. All those were taken away after starting the program, and now she's back in her professional career, loving her life, making money, and being the mom that she wants to be. And then we have Olivia. Yeah. So she came to me with fatty liver, and she was quite overweight. She wanted to get into a career of professional singing, and she didn't know where to go. Well, she came to me, and what happened was we started to clear away the fat from her liver, started to get her lean again, get her healthy again, get her confidence up. Now she has this signed career in the US with an incredible future ahead of her. So these kind of things, they work. All right. And no matter where you are, you can get better and get the health that you want, get the physique that you want, get the life that you want. Okay. So it's really finding someone who can help you with a proven plan, which is this one right here. And you're going to learn right now how you're going to eat more to lose weight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to go back to seeing if anyone has any questions. Hey, so nice to see everyone here. Ariane, nice to see you as well. I'm so happy you're here. This is good. We need to block off time to get these trainings, to get motivated, so that you have the best week and you move ahead in your journey to health. So thank you so much for joining. And anyone else, please come and say hi, and please ask any questions that you want. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the training again and share my screen. Okay, so one moment, please. Get that up. Okay, so today, what's happening here is I created a 9-step plan to help any busy person lose up to 20 pounds and lose it within 12 weeks. That's only 90 days. And keep it off for life. Well, you can still have some of your wine, you can still have some of your bread, and you can have your beer. So this is step 3 out of my 9-step plan. So step 3, you're going to get training on today. And it's all about how to eat more to lose weight. Now, I do want you to imagine for a moment, please, like if you knew exactly how to lose weight and keep it off for life while eating. Well, that's what we're going to learn today. And I want to start by sharing why we are failing. Why are we falling off track? Why? I mean, 80% of the population in the States are obese. We have all the technology in the world. We can fly ourselves to Mars. Why can't we lose weight and keep it off for life and be healthy? We're the sickest we've ever been. The children won't live past the age, I guess, if their parents are saying. I mean, look around you. Where are all the healthy kids? We're not healthy, but we need to get healthy, and we know how to get healthy. And this is one of the ways we can do that. Remember, food is information, and you're going to learn a lot about this today. We're going to give the body information so that you can lose the weight and feel great again. Why are we not getting here? Well, here's the reason. There's 3 reasons why we fail to lose weight when eating, okay? First one is we eat when we're bored. I don't know if it sounds like you, but when we eat when we're bored, we eat when we're tired, or we eat when we feel overwhelmed. That means we're eating when we're stressed. Okay, that's not the time to eat, all right? We're eating for nourishment. We're eating because we're actually hungry. If you don't, you're feeding your emotions. That will always be a failed approach. And hey, this is not your fault. This is so common around there. We're just following the crowd when we do this. It's almost like accepted. No, it's not accepted, because you know you're better than that. You know you are. That's why you're watching this live training right now. And the reason why it's kind of also not your fault is because of this. Our society is now built on fast and convenient. So what's fast are foods that are packaged. What's convenient are foods that are packaged. Packaged food will actually lead to weight gain. So we need to actually know that we need to do things differently, okay? And we need to override this feeling of, oh, there's food there, I need to eat it. Yeah, because that is actually built into it's built into your biology to eat. You are wired to eat. We are wired to eat because back in the day when there was no food really around, we had to go find the food. So of course we're wired to eat. That's how we survived as a race. Remember, we're 2.4 million years being on this planet, okay? And it only has been recently when we've got all these packaged foods around. We're still wired to eat, but we're eating too much and all the time, okay? And it gets into this vicious cycle where that's just a habit of yours. We need to break this habit because it's not working for you. And guess what? It's not even that hard. All right. Just follow these steps and you'll see why. The second reason why most busy people fail to lose weight, even when they keep trying, is they believe that they need to eat every 2 hours to keep their metabolism high. That is not true. That is a myth. It is a marketing gimmick. Why? They want you to eat their food. So marketing says, yeah, just eat every 2 hours so that you can keep the metabolism high. Otherwise, you're going to lower your metabolism and you're going to gain weight. Well, that's not true. No, it's not. We need to take breaks from our food. Why? Because the body has to take time to be able to do something with the food you just are digesting. And what it's designed to do is give your body nutrition, build the muscle, and then remove the waste products. But it needs time for that. We're not going to want to keep asking our digestive system to keep working. What happens is it overworks, and then your digestive system fails. That leads to things like autoimmune, which is leaky gut, and that leads to illness. Okay, that is not your fault. Again, this is marketing. I fell into that trap as well. I remember being at Bread Garden on West 1st. Kitsilano, yeah. And I had my watch with me. This is really true. And I would make sure that as soon as it hit the 2 hour mark, I would have food. Yeah, because that's how committed I was to getting healthy. It got me worse. So now I know the truth because you study what real health is and not what marketing is. So no, we don't want to eat every 2 hours. All right, we don't. We need to give our digestive system a rest. So the third reason why most busy people fail to lose weight when trying to eat, and that is they are not eating properly. They're eating too many carbs and not enough protein all the time. I see this every single time. Okay. Again, it's not your fault because these packaged foods are quick foods to boost the metabolism that you think you're doing when really they're actually adding fat, and the fat are inflaming onto your body. So, if you are athletic and you do a lot of fitness and you're doing a lot of bodybuilding, or you're doing a lot of like active work, physical work, then yeah, you can have more carbs. But if you're somebody who is sitting at a desk and you're in front of the computer and you don't get out very much and you're having carbs during the day, too many carbs during the day, you will gain weight. Okay. It's too much sugar, which raises insulin, which is a fat storing hormone. The hormones become imbalanced. Okay. And that's what leads to weight gain. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this around for you and teach your body, learn how to eat to actually boost the metabolism and allow for building muscle while it burns fat. So, and that is, what I noticed is most people aren't eating enough of the one macronutrient that we need more of, which is protein. Okay. And you're going to learn a lot about protein today. Again, this is not your fault. This is just the way society is today, but you're learning a different approach so that you can eat more to lose weight. Okay. Near the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about the process, but right now I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to go back to see if anyone has any questions right now that I can answer. And if not, I'm going to go right back to the training. Okay. Any questions? No questions right now. Okay. No problem at all. I'm going to go right back to the training. So let me share my screen and we're going to get right to it. Okay. All right. This is so awesome. So today you're actually going to learn about, and I'm going to do deeper dives into the fit and healthy diet, how we're going to eat to lose weight. Okay. And what this is going to do for you exactly is, first of all, we help you reach your ideal weight and stay that way. It's also going to give your body, yourself so much more energy, like real energy, that way you can wake up, have energy for the day. And then when it comes time to getting ready for sleep, you start to get sleepy and you have the best sleep ever. And then you feel sexy, you feel youthful, you feel confident, you want to dress in your awesome clothes, you want to get out more, you want to socialize more, you want to, do more things because you feel good. Okay. So life is just so much better when you're healthier. You know that. And we're going to learn that right now. So what is the overview of this diet? Well, the first thing I want you to think about is we want you to eat in season. We want you to eat in season. What does that mean? That means eat foods that are grown in your environment. And when you do that, you're actually eating in accordance to your biology, because your cells, your nature, you live in nature. You need to be aligned with nature. And we are so conditioned to be inside, eat artificial foods. We feel artificial and we look artificial. Let's get back outside in nature. Let's start to eat foods that are grown in nature, and you will notice an immediate boost in energy, and your body shape will definitely change. Your skin tone will get a lot better, and your mood will change as well. Okay. And so wherever you are right now, just think about the foods that are grown in your environment. So for me, I live in Mexico. Okay. I never used to eat mangoes and papaya when I lived in Canada. I never did. No, I had berries and apples. Well, I've changed what I put in my smoothies. I'm having mangoes and papaya, maybe a little bit of the green bananas. And that is what I put into my smoothies. I never did that in Canada because they're not grown there. Okay, my genes, I'm coupling myself to my environment by eating foods that are grown here. Okay, and I am trying new foods here as well. Okay, and I'm trying some herbs as well that are grown here, and herbal teas and that, because I want to couple myself to nature and my environment. So just really remember that. Okay, and when you do go out and source your foods, I highly recommend you source out organic, or even just fruits and vegetables and produce that is grown with proper practices. That means no sprays, no pesticides, no herbicides, definitely no glyphosate or no GMO. Those are like the worst. And even your animal proteins, make sure that they're not factory farmed, that the animals are grazed on their natural environment, grazed on grass and eating their natural food. Okay. And so right now I'm putting together my resource list of producers and growers that are in accordance to health principles. And so I'm going to be creating this list, and I will be able to offer it to you. I'm just building it now. For the ones that are in Canada, I've already got that list. So if anyone's watching this, I'm happy to share my resource list because I sourced it all when I was there, but now I'm sourcing it here. So what we're going to do is we talked about eating within the foods that are grown in your environment. We talked about making sure that the foods that you choose are grown and raised properly, organic, without the chemicals. And now we're going to go into how we're going to actually eat. The first thing I want you to think about is I want you to think about protein. So I want you to think about every time you eat, where is your protein source? Make protein a priority. Why? Because protein is what is going to help you get lean. Protein is what's going to help you lose weight. Protein is what's going to actually help you fix your gut. So a lot of clients come to me with autoimmune. It is so common, like autoimmune thyroid, autoimmune thyroid is a lot right now for some reason. I'm not sure, but I'm just getting a lot of clients coming to me with thyroid issues. So this is really, really good for you to watch. But anyway, so what we're going to want to do is have protein every time we eat. Why? Because it's mainly non-allergic. What are the allergic foods are more of the plants, okay? For reasons, but really protein would be non-allergic, okay? And we want to think about protein not only as helping us lose weight, but also building strength. Because here's the thing. The key to losing weight and keeping it off for life is to build strength. Why? Because the muscle is your metabolic engine. You need to build as much muscle as you can to bring up the metabolism to then be able to eat more food and lose weight. That is the key. But carbs aren't going to build the muscle. Fat's not going to build the muscle. Protein's going to build the muscle. And when you think about it, when you're older, like 80, which I do think about, because I have actually this agreement with my kids that when I'm 80, I'm going to hike the mountain and beat them when I'm 80. That's kind of the thing. And if I don't, I owe them. I think it's it's $100 Canadian. So I'm training for that right now. Okay, I'm 54. I'm training for this hike when I'm 80 with my boys. All right, because I want to win. Anyways. So we're going to want to think about, as we age, we lose muscle. You will lose muscle as you age. So we need to build muscle because, again, muscle is what's going to help you. If you fall, you need to get yourself up. Okay. Cardio is not going to help you get up. No, strength training, building muscle will help you get up. So we need to start training now. It's never, never too late. And so the programs that I provide for my clients always include the resistance training piece. Okay. And it's not something like that is not something like I would never have you do something you don't want to do. Okay. We'll just meet you where you're at. You've got 2 days a week. No problem. I'll create a program that's 2 days a week that you like to do. And then we'll just go from there. It's not like you're going to be a bodybuilder in a week or even look like one. It's not like that at all. No, you're getting healthy by building muscle and doing a foundational program. And to get your results, you've got to eat the protein. So yes, we need to eat the protein. Make sure protein is a priority. In fact, a lot of people do well on just the carnivore diet, and that's just protein. You don't want to go on that for too long because that's not a balanced way to eat, but it is really good to start with, perhaps, if you want to like lose the weight and feel strong again. And then we switch you back into more of like a paleo or more of a keto. But really, carnivore could be a good approach. The other thing about protein is it will stimulate a hormone called glucagon, and glucagon is your fat burning hormone. So what you're going to do is not only get stronger, you're also going to help the body burn fat. It's also going to help you with tissue recovery and joint health and facelift. Your face will be toned. It will be more firm. You'll feel tighter. You're going to recover faster from exercise. Why? Because protein breaks down into amino acids in the body. Amino acids are needed to recover from exercise. So I hope this is all making sense. All right. The other thing is to balance hormones, you must have protein. Your hormones are made from protein. So we want to make sure we get these protein for all those reasons. So the first step, again, in eating is make sure you make protein a priority. I'll get into how much protein and what sources of protein, but just always remember, step one, where is your protein? So always have protein. Step two, well, we're not just going to be eating chicken legs or like steaks all day, unless you want to, but really we want to add plants to that. And those are the carbohydrates. So you've heard of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are sugar to the body, all right? There's some better carbs than other carbs, but really all plants are carbohydrates. They are sugar to the body. They break down to glucose, and they also have fiber in them, but really it's sugar to the body. I want you to think about carbohydrates also as anti-aging, okay? Because what happens is when we eat these carbohydrates in the form of plants, they have plant nutrients. They have plant medicine. They do. And this is what keeps us from aging quickly because they help to nourish the body. They actually take away free radicals because of the antioxidants that they naturally are present. So we want to make sure that we have the right type of carbs in the right amounts. Okay, so they are important. The other thing that carbohydrates do, which are these plants, is they actually help, because of the fiber that they help to excrete waste products from the body. We need to do this. If anybody wants to be healthy, we have to remove the waste. We have to remove the poison. We are bombarded with poison all the time. We're bombarded by poison all the time, and we're exposed to it all the time. Okay, so we want to make sure that our bodies can eliminate what it doesn't need, which is the poison, and hold on to what it needs, which is the nutrition. Okay, so that's what the carbs do. And then we also want to think about fats. So we talked about protein, we talked about carbs, and now we want to think about fats. I want you to have fats every single meal. What is this no fat thing? No, our bodies are, we're a fat head. Your head is made of mainly fat. Yes, we need to nourish the brain, because if your brain's not healthy, how can you be healthy? We need good fat for that. Also, fat plays a real important role for anti-inflammatory, to help the body remove pain, okay? Because some fats are actually helpful to remove pain. And other fats actually help with hormone balance, okay? It also keeps you from being tied to the fridge all day. Who wants to be thinking about food all day? No, we have other things we want to do, right? But if you're hungry and your blood sugar's all over the place, you aren't going to be thinking about being productive. And then you're going to think back at the end of the day and go, what did I do today? I just thought about food. That's not a way to live. Hey, I used to live like that. That has changed ever since I learned this strategy and all the mentors that I've learned from. And I actually invested in myself. So I actually get paid to learn so that I can teach this, and then you can have your better life as well. So we want to think about good fats. And then we're going to talk about some extras, which I call superfoods. Superfoods, not marketed superfoods like this one shiny object. No, real food, which is superfoods. Because these superfoods that you're going to learn about today will help do wonders to your body. And you don't even need very much. You just need little bits of it. But really, it will have such an impact on your physique and your mood and your energy. And it will actually help you look and feel sexy again. Yeah, you bet. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stop this share, and I'm going to go back to see if, hi Darren, I'm glad you're on the call. This is really good. I just want to, if anyone has a question, please share it here. I'm happy to answer it as I go through the training, and I'm really glad that you guys are all on the call, because I know you're in it to win it, and you will win it, okay? Because you're learning, you're investing in yourself, and you're committing to yourself. So that's really, really good. Really, really good. Pat on the back. Woohoo. So I'm going to go back to the training right now. Okay. And there we go. Okay. So just as a recap, the diet that I created really has 4 components to it. The first one is make sure protein is a priority. The second one is get some plants in there as carbohydrates. The third one is make sure you get your fat with every meal. And then the fourth one is the superfoods that you're going to learn about, which is like plant medicine. Okay. And so now we're going to talk a little bit of a deeper dive into step 1, which is protein. How much, this is like, I get asked this all the time, how much protein is required for us to lose weight and build muscle? Well, the general rule is 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. If you're a current client, I've already worked out your macronutrients, so just follow the plan that I've already created for you. But if you're not a client, then here is a really good general rule. 1 gram per pound, 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So for example, if your ideal body weight is 150 pounds, you want to eat about 150 grams of protein, or at least 120 to 150, because really it's 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. Okay, so that is not by weight, it's by yield. So that means, I think it's about 100 grams by yield of chicken breast equals about 30 grams of protein towards your 120 to 150 grams protein per day. Okay, but you can Google that. I think it's about that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to eat 2 or 3 times a day, even 1 time a day. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure you make protein a priority. What the strategy that I have been following and that I learned from Dr. Gabrielle Lyon was, if you can start the day with 50 grams of protein, why you want to do that is because you want to start the day off with, see, your hydrochloric acid, which breaks down the protein, is the highest in the morning. So you want to optimize that. You're going to work with your body. So it makes sense that you have the most amount of protein during the day and less at night, because you have the stomach acid to break it down so that you can optimize your physique and your energy and everything else. So I always recommend my clients 50 grams of protein as part of their breakfast. So if you're having protein powder, then it would likely be like 2 scoops of protein powder. If you're having eggs or sausage, you can Google how many grams of protein of this gives me 50 grams of protein for my breakfast. Okay, you know what I'm trying to say. So you want to do that, okay? And then you want to have some for lunch and then some for dinner. But you want to make sure that you reach your protein goal for the day. You want to make sure you have protein every time you eat. Why? Because it's dose dependent. It is dose dependent. That means when you have your protein, you're going to be able to stimulate muscle growth, okay? And so that's really, really important. Why? Because muscle is your metabolic engine. More muscle you have on the body, the more food you can eat and look great and be strong without gaining weight. And okay, so that is like that is the secret to longevity right there. It is, yeah. And so we're going to have it every time we eat. Now we're going to go into step 2, carbs. This is an interesting topic. So there's good carbs, bad carbs. What are the bad carbs? Processed, ultra-processed foods. Those are the bad carbs. Good carbs would be something like anything grown in the garden would be a good carb. Anything grown in nature would be a good carb. For example, anything grown on a tree, anything grown in the garden, anything grown in nature. And so the best carbs are really the vegetables. So your mom was right, eat more vegetables. She was right. And Trey, if you're watching this, it's good to eat more vegetables, okay? And Tristan as well. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to load our plate with as much non-starchy fibrous vegetables as we can. And the reason for that is because the fiber, it has so many benefits, okay? The non-starchy fibrous vegetables, these are the ones that are grown above ground, typically, all the colors above ground. These are the ones that are going to allow your body to remove the waste products with a good stool, but also feed these bacteria in your body, which grow. They're called Bacteroides species. The fibrous vegetables are food for the certain type of bacteria, which are found in lean people. They're called Bacteroides. And so we want to feed. So when you're feeding yourself, you're actually feeding the bacteria. And the bacteria do wonders for you. What do? They keep you lean. They also remove the waste products. They also make vitamins for you, like vitamin B12, some of the B vitamins. And so they make vitamins for you, and they ward off pathogens. So they will make sure that your body has a strong defense system. So they're like your army. So that means when everyone's sick around you, you won't get sick. Why? Because you're growing the right bacteria that act as a defense system. Okay, so you stay healthy. Nobody wants to be sick. When you're sick, life sucks, right? So let's keep ourselves healthy with non-starchy fibrous vegetables. So those are the ones above the ground. The ones below the ground have value as well. Those are the starchy ones. And when we're going to incorporate those is if you train a lot and you're at the gym, I'm okay if you put them in at lunch and dinner. But if you don't really train a lot, what I mean by train a lot is if you're 2 times a week, that's a good amount, but not enough to be able to yield starchy vegetables at lunch and dinner. But if you're training like 4 times a week, then we want to add some starchy vegetables for lunch and starchy vegetables for dinner, okay? Because you can handle more carbs if you train more. And so these carbs have value, the starchy ones. What do? They have more fiber, but they also allow you to have a really good sleep at night. And sleep is so critical to help you lose weight and everything else, right? So these, when you add starchy vegetables or some kind of carbs in with your dinner, it's going to allow for a slow release of sugar throughout the night so that you don't wake up hypoglycemic, so that you can sleep all the way through the night, right? Because blood sugar doesn't go all over the place, it's stable. And then you can wake up, and that way you're not waking up diabetic. Because here's the thing, if you have an improper sleep, you will actually wake up partially diabetic. You will crave sugar, your digestive system will be compromised. So that means that if you're trying to fix a leaky gut, you will have a hard time if you're not sleeping. And you know that you don't feel that great to work out. So let's really protect that sleep. So how we're going to do that is we're going to have starchy vegetables as part of the evening meal. And then we're going to get into fat. So we talked about protein, we talked about carbs as in vegetables, and now we're going to talk about fats. So fats. So we're going to just have some fat. And if you're not used to having fat, just start with a little bit and start to gradually add more. Why don't we add a lot of fat to begin with? Well, here's the reason. This is why I have a problem with this keto diets, because it's too much fat for somebody who's just starting out. What happens is anytime you have fat, the liver has to produce and release bile. The liver gets overworked. It has to release something it hasn't released in a long time. And it may not be able to do that because it's fatty. Okay, and it likely is fatty if you're overweight. So here you're trying to ask the liver to do something it's not really used to doing because you want to lose weight. Well, this is what leads to being overweight on a diet that's supposed to get you to lose weight, but also make you feel nauseous and full and yucky. No, yeah. So we don't want to do that. We want to start to have a little bit of fat and gradually add more fat as the liver starts to clean out because you're clean eating, as the liver starts to get used to making more bile, because again, you're training the body to be healthy. It's not a race, you're training it. So here it's starting to release more bile. Bile breaks down the fat. Everything's like a symphony. It's beautiful. So this could be why the ketogenic diet didn't work for you long-term or why it didn't make you feel well. Now we're into number 4, step 4, extras. These are my superfoods that I believe are superfoods. And the superfoods that I believe to be superfoods are, I'm going to go down here. They are prebiotic foods. What are prebiotic foods? These are the foods that actually grow the good bacteria in your gut. And these are primarily, I'm just actually going to list them off for you right now. So these are artichoke, raw dandelion greens, raw garlic, leeks, onions, and asparagus. Okay, so cocoa nibs are also one. So if you eat more of these foods, then you're actually going to grow the bacteria that help you get lean, the Bacteroides species. Plus, again, it's going to help your defense system so that when everyone else around you is sick, you're not sick. So just think about that. The other superfood that I'm going to recommend. Prebiotic foods are not recommended for those that have inflammation of the gut because the gut isn't healthy. There aren't enough of the prebiotic. There aren't enough of these Bacteroides species for you to feed. And so what you're feeding are the pathogenic ones. So you're feeding the enemy because you don't have enough of your the army there. So if you have gut issues, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you fix this. But what I'm saying is let's eliminate the prebiotic foods until you have a better gut. Then we can start to introduce them, okay? So let's now get into bone broth. Bone broth is such a wonder food for those that want to heal the gut because it has naturally occurring minerals, which help to nourish the gut. It also has, I think, proline in it. It's an amino acid that helps nourish the gut. It's got naturally occurring glutamine, which helps to heal the gut. It's a custom meal for the gut to heal, okay? And so if you make it properly, I have a recipe for that. If you make it properly or buy it from a source that you trust, then just 1 cup of bone broth a day. I would do that for the next 30 days to heal the gut, or just have bone broth soup. Sea vegetables. Sea vegetables are so important. We're so used to having land vegetables that we're forgetting about sea vegetables. So sea vegetables are found in the sea, obviously, but they're really, really high in trace minerals, okay? Things like iodine. Now, is iodine good for the thyroid? Is it good for the metabolism? Yes, it is. I wouldn't recommend taking iodine unless you're with someone who can test you with that. But I do recommend eating sea vegetables that have naturally occurring iodine, because again, the body knows what to do with food. But if you're taking it from like an isolated source, then you've got to know what you're doing, okay? And you can throw your thyroid off. So let's get some sea vegetables in your soups and your salads. The other superfood I recommend are herbs and spices. Organic and non-irradiated, of course. Otherwise, you're having concentrated pesticides and herbicides. So you want to make sure that you fill your plate with herbs and spices. And so I know for me, okay, why are we doing this? It's plant medicine. You don't even need a lot. You just need some and be consistent. So herbs like parsley is really high in minerals, so it's good to alleviate pain. It's really good for breath, actually. If you have bad breath or halitosis, then you can actually put handfuls of parsley into your foods, and it will help so that you don't have bad breath. And you make more friends. Your family, you want to be around you more. And other herbs are cilantro is good for heavy metal detox only if you don't have amalgam fillings. If you have amalgam fillings, avoid cilantro until we get these out the right way. And if you are looking to get your amalgam fillings out, please don't just get them out. That's dangerous. You need to talk to someone like myself who's specialist in pre and post amalgam filling removal, because otherwise you're going to flood your body with mercury, which is going to harm everything in the body because it's a heavy metal. But other than that, cilantro is really good. Oregano would be good. Rosemary is really good. Onions, like spring onions, are really, really good for the gut. Spices, you want to get cumin for the digestive system. You want to get some kind of heat, like cayenne or paprika. You want to get those into the body. Why? Because it's going to improve circulation, which improves your health. Okay. Sprouts, a handful of sprouts are so healthy for you. It's like concentrated vegetables. Like broccoli sprouts are known to have naturally occurring sulforaphane, which really helps for phase 2 detoxification, which helps to alleviate breast cancer. Yes, they do. And these things are powerful in their effect. And so when I say these things, I'm not blowing smoke. I'm actually saying that you can actually use your kitchen as your medicine cabinet. And part of that is having sprouts. I do want you to caution away from alfalfa sprouts. We don't want to have those. And the reason for that is because I learned this when I was studying from Sally Fallon from the Weston A. Price Foundation, who learned from the dentist who traveled around in the 1920s, Weston A. Price, legendary book about health. In the 1920s. Anyways, he studied the healthy people, and what they found was the animals and the people that ate alfalfa were sick. So, and the animals actually avoided alfalfa sprouts because they knew something in there wasn't right. So let's avoid the alfalfa sprouts. Let's go into pea sprouts, sunflower sprouts, broccoli sprouts, onion sprouts, any kind of sprouts, but alfalfa sprouts, okay? And have a little handful every day. Sweeteners. Let's get away from agave nectar. That is a sweetener that is not recommended, but is highly touted as being healthy. It's not healthy. From the research that I've seen, it is high in fructose, which leads to fatty liver, which leads to being overweight. Let's go into stevia, and let's get into maybe some organic cane sugar if you need, or some organic coconut sugar, but definitely not the agave nectar. So I've still got 45 minutes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this and see if there's any questions right now, because I've actually loaded a lot on you. I know that's how I do things, though, because I know for me, if I listened to someone speak for an hour and I didn't learn anything, what a waste of time. I'd never watch them again. And you know what? You can watch the replay. You can take notes. I know I talk fast, but just take notes and ask me questions. Like I've got a few right now that I'm going to answer. Okay. So let's see. Having a hard time. Okay. So I wish I knew who this was. It says Facebook user. Thank you so much for your question. And the question is, I'm having a hard time getting my protein in a day. Should I start doing 2 vegan protein drinks a day? I do 2 scoops per shake, which is 40 grams. Okay, so let's start with the first thing. I'm having a hard time getting my protein in a day. Okay, so that's good that you recognize that, that protein is a priority. Way to go. So should I start doing 2 vegan protein drinks a day? So yeah, that's actually a really, really good strategy, is to take 1 or 2 protein shakes in a day, because it's like pure amino acids. It's easily assimilated. And it's going to up your protein to then get that boost in muscle growth, which is the key to losing weight and keeping it off for life. Just make sure that your protein powder, look at the ingredients. Okay. I don't want to see artificial sweeteners in there. And so many here in Mexico, it's a shame. We had to source out one brand that was the only brand that had no artificial sweeteners. The whole row, the whole wall was all full of artificial sweetener protein powders. That is not what we want. So yes, as long as the ingredients are clean and it's sweetened with stevia, or maybe even organic cane sugar, I don't care. I just don't want to see artificial sweeteners. So that is a really, really good strategy. So 2 scoops gives 40 grams. That's really great. Well done. Yes. So the next thing is, okay, same here. Hard to get the protein grams in. Right. So what I've done is I've given you the amounts that are ideal for your body. Where I want you to pay attention, though, is we don't want to overeat to get the protein in. Okay. That is something you're going to need to play with. So I want you to make protein a priority. I want you to make more protein during the day and less at night. I want you to create that strategy. But what I don't want to see you do is overeat, because that is not checking off that box of eat till you're just full, like eat till you're just 80%. So just make protein a priority, and do your best to get the amount of protein in per day, and just don't overeat it. So some proteins are more easily assimilated than others. Here's one example: fish. So fish and seafood is easier to digest, especially white fish. That's the number one protein. If you're not feeling well, you need to feel better, and your digestive system is a little bit compromised and you're just getting off being sick, white fish. White fish is easy to assimilate. So you can likely eat more protein that is more white fish than you would something like pork or beef. They're harder to digest. You can't eat as much, and I would kind of look at that. Okay. So hopefully that's answered that question. If not, you can ask another one. I like that question. The fats you mentioned are in addition to the fats that are naturally in animal products. Yeah. So when we pick our animal products, there is some fat that is naturally present. So when you're cooking them, you want to be mindful of cooking it in the fat, which is good, so that they're not char-boiled, because you don't want to eat burnt animal products. You want to cook them in the fat so that they cook properly and they're not burnt. And then you don't want to have that fat that it's cooked in. Typically, you can get rid of it down the garbage, maybe not down the sink. And then it's got naturally fat present. And then what you can do is you can actually add some extra virgin olive oil to that, which is the number one fat that I recommend that we have, because of the polyphenols and because of how it affects our waistline, which is positively, it's going to help you lose weight. It's going to help with anti-aging. It really helps with reversing cardiovascular disease by getting in these extra virgin olive oil. So you could, if you really want to track, you can go into MyFitnessPal and you put in that protein source that you're having cooked, and it will actually tell you how much fat is in there. And so ideally, per meal, you're going to have about 14 grams of total fat, ideally, about 14 grams of total fat for that one meal. That's a really, really good start. So that's a good question. Hopefully I've answered that. The next question is, what kind of white fish do you recommend? Anything that's wild. That's a really good question. We don't want farmed fish. If you saw the conditions that these fish were grown in, you would not have this fish. In fact, they shouldn't be raised in this kind of fish, in this kind of environment. That's not healthy. So when you're at Costco, if you're at the seafood place, what is your wild source fish? Which are your wild source? So wild source cod, wild sourced shrimp for sure. Wild source scallops. So ask for wild source white fish. That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. Is 70 grams of protein at one sitting too much? I believe it is. That's another really good question. So our bodies can assimilate about 50, maybe 60 grams. 70 is too much. And then what happens is it puts you out of balance. Remember, the kidneys have to deal with the nitrogen. If they could be overworked if you're having too much protein. Don't be afraid of protein, but 70 grams would be too much at one sitting. Yes, it would. So I would keep, right now the research is showing 50, 60 grams as like your ideal dose per meal. And so just play with that. But yeah, 70 I believe is too much from what I've seen. Those are all really good questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the training right now and finish her up. Okay. So I kind of left off with the superfoods because I haven't spoken enough about those, and they are so important for our health. Okay. And when we're healthy, it helps us also lose weight because we want to work out. We have healthy mood, which helps balance our stress, because we know if we have too much stress, it's going to keep the weight on. So that's why I really wanted to dive into more of the superfoods. What else do I want to talk about? Okay, if you tend to get cold sores or mouth sores, then you're going to want to look at avoiding these foods, okay? These foods that I'm going to share with you right now will actually feed the sore, and you don't want to feed the sore. You don't want to feed the viral sore, okay? We need to get rid of that and stop eating too many of these foods. So the first one is nuts and seeds. So if you are someone who gets a lot of cold sores or canker sores, then you want to avoid nuts and seeds. The reason for that is because they're high in amino acid called arginine, and they're too low in an amino acid called lysine. Lysine is an antiviral. Arginine feeds viruses. So this could maybe be an aha moment for you with, oh, maybe that's why I keep getting these cold sores or these canker sores, because I'm eating too many nuts and seeds. I would actually eliminate them and just go with either chia seeds or hemp seeds or flax seeds and only have a tiny, tiny amount. I'd also avoid peanuts. Peanuts are actually moldy, even organic. They have high aflatoxin, which is mold. And if you are struggling with your health and you're overweight, I would 100% eliminate all peanuts. I would go more with almonds. But again, if you have cold sores or canker sores, you don't want to have peanuts. Even coconut, I'd be watching your coconut and make sure that you reduce that or eliminate it altogether. I would eliminate all grains as well. Popcorn, unfortunately, I know it's great and it gives you that dopamine hit and it's a great snack in the evening. It would be a no if you have this condition. Chocolate and carob would be a no. Gelatin, beer, and orange juice. Those are the ones that you would need to be a no if you tend to get viral infections like the ones I've described. What else can I share with you? If you have autoimmune, here's the thing. I had a conversation with a naturopath yesterday, and we were at odds. I disagreed with what she had shared with me, and that was trying a diet with an autoimmune that got away from animal products and moved into plant-based to heal her body. So the plant-based would be grains and beans, and she avoided dairy, which is fine. Avoided gluten, which is fine, but we're going to introduce grains and beans and legumes. And I would have to disagree. And the reason for that is because if you have an autoimmune condition, that is a new condition actually to our human race. We never had autoimmune conditions before the agricultural age. We never did. In fact, we hardly saw even heart conditions. We hardly saw cardiovascular issues. With the Framingham heart study was debunked after, because it was so flagged with being like the Roadstar study that shared that, you know, meat was bad if you had heart disease. Well, that was debunked like years ago when they actually looked at the real research. So what I'm going to share with you right now is, if you have autoimmune, we need to go back to the diet we had pre-agricultural, before agriculture. So that was a diet that was what our hunters and gatherers ate. That's what our ancestors ate, because that is how we're going to heal the gut. Because anybody with an autoimmune condition has leaky gut. We need to heal the gut. We need to stop eating foods that trigger gut inflammation. And those are the ones that from the agricultural age. And so if you're listening to this and you have autoimmune and you don't know what to eat, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to share this with you. So anyways, I shared it with the naturopath and I got her thinking about it. So she's going to start to explore that. But really, we have to think about this. It's only logical. We're not going to want to put foods in our body that is going to trigger inflammation. Okay. And so we need to think about foods like avoiding all dairy. Okay. All dairy. And all grains, all beans and legumes, and even the nightshades just to start. And then we can slowly introduce these again once we see the autoimmune markers lower. That means testing, but also we need to test and not guess. So I think I'm just going to leave it at that today. I believe that I've shared a lot of information. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to see if there's any more questions. And if there's no more questions, I'm just going to end this with a few other tips that you're not going to want to miss, which is right now. Okay, so one moment. Okay. So what you've learned today is probably a lot, but you know, again, you can watch the replay. What I want to share with you right now is just to do a bit of a recap. And that is, I really want you to think about what you want and get away from what you don't want. Let's get away from fear and into freedom. Let's get into how you see yourself, how you want to show up, and just really pay attention to what that is. Keep that front of mind. And just, you know what, be that person now. And if that's who you want to be and who you strive to be, what does that person do? Well, I know for me, Wonder Woman, she is out there serving, but she serves herself first. She takes care of herself. She moves, exercises. She comes from the heart. She's very authentic, and she cares a lot about people. So for me, she's one of my my icons. For you, you'll have one as well. But really, always go to that. Okay. The other thing is make sure that you have someone that you can learn from, because if you're not growing and learning, you're dying. And so you want to make sure that it's someone who's, you know, recovered from what you've done or gone through the journey and has a plan, or someone you trust or someone you know has your back. Okay. We all need some kind of a coach. We all need a mentor. And if you're not learning, you're dying, like I said. So we're here to grow. And I believe that this whole COVID thing was all about growth. It was all about showing us what really matters. It forced you into your house. It forced you with your family. It forced you to look at your food. It forced you to look at your lifestyle. And it went, hey, this is what's going on. Okay, let's do a reset. All right. So there are a lot of good educators out there. There's a lot of good practitioners. Just find the one that feels right for you and hang on to them, learn from them, and you'll see results very, very quickly. Okay. Remember, they've done all the mistakes. You don't want to make what they did. You want to learn from them so that you don't make them as well. And then today, just as a recap, this is step 3 out of my 9-step plan, and it is designed to help busy people just like you lose weight and keep it off for life by eating, okay, by detoxing, and by following these principles here. And what I want to share with you also is what we learned today was, you know, a lot. I threw a lot at you. I know that. But at the same time, I don't want you to, I want you to learn something from what I've shared. And even if it's 1 or 2 things, it's more than what you learned before. And take action. You can learn things, but really, what about taking action? And then take a look to see how you responded. So you want to track, and you want to look back to see how it's all working, okay? And that's how you grow. So just as a quick little recap, we're going to want to make sure that you're going to make protein a priority, okay? By following the diet that I've described. You want to think about having some plants that is going to allow you to have good bowel movements and allow you to have plant medicine to keep you healthy. You're going to want to make sure you have a little bit of fat. Remember, start small and then work your way up. And think about the superfoods that I shared with you today, okay? And when you do this, make sure you don't overeat. So we can eat all these great foods, but really we also want to make sure that we are not overeating, okay? And that you're going to want to pay attention to when you're actually hungry. And then when you're just about full, you know what? Stop. It's like the food's not tasting good. I know it's my time to stop. Awesome. Stop. And if you have a habit of snacking after, that would be one habit I would stop. Because again, what do we talk about eating every 2 hours? The digestive tract is not designed to do that. You want to give it a rest so that it can regenerate, right? So stop eating. And for me, what I do is I have herbal tea and stevia, and I have some gum. I'm going to show you something. Just one sec. I found this in Mexico. Hello. So anyone in Mexico, I know how to get spry gum, which is sweetened with xylitol. When you're chewing your gum, make sure it's not with artificial ingredients. You don't want artificial anything. So I know spry gum. I can get it in Mexico. And if anyone wants to learn about that, I can let you know where to get it. So much information. Super fantastic. Thanks. You're very welcome. I wish I knew who that was. But anyways, thank you, Facebook user. And I appreciate you being on the call. I love all the hugs and all the kisses and all the love. And, you know, next week, I'm actually going to talk about meal plan made easy. So I'm actually going to pull all this together for you in a simple meal plan that you guys can follow and get the results that you're looking for. So I want to thank you so much for joining. If anyone here is interested in a customized plan, that's exactly what I do. I have a really nice group of one-on-ones right now, and we customize the plan. I customize the plan, and then we meet every week, and then we learn from each other, and then we have a winner for the week. So that means you will never fall off track. You will always be on track. So that way you can get rid of old, yucky, worn out habits and move into who you're designed to be, and so that you can live your life on your terms. Okay. So again, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next week.